today. Really excited to share, to hear from Mark and have him share his knowledge. I mean, Mark has been an investor for several years. That's how he got into the real estate game. And so maybe Mark, start with telling us a little bit about your background, your history, how you got into investing.
Sure. So I've been investing for 17 years. I've been thinking about doing it for over 20. And yeah, I mean, I own over 200 residential doors. I've done a lot of deals. I've done a lot of different strategies over the years. And yeah, I've kind of settled on buy, rental, refinance is the best one because selling seems like a bad idea at all times. So I don't like to sell.
So you mentioned something really interesting that I feel personally speaks probably to a lot of people. You said you've been investing for 17 years, but you've been thinking about it for 20. So
yes,
what was that 3-year gap? What was going on with you at that point? Why weren't you active yet?
So 1 year I went to Australia.
Okay.
I spent a whole year in Australia.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, I got a job and worked for a little bit, saved up some money for a down payment. I tried to buy a house in like 1999 or whatever in Toronto. And to be honest with you, I just didn't understand it all. I didn't know how to get the financing. I couldn't put the deal together.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have as much knowledge, and I just didn't have the support of somebody to walk me through that. So.
Right. And I imagine.
And then to be honest with you, I found
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of people are probably in that situation. I actually found a realtor the next time to help me, and who actually walked me through and basically said, here's who you talk to on the mortgage. Here's, boom, 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 and lined it all up, and it was easy. And if the first guy did that, he probably would have got a sale.
Yeah.
And I would be, I'd have an extra $1.5 million because that property on Woodfield Avenue in Toronto was $180,000 then, and now is $1.5 million.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So I imagine there's a lot of people, right, who go through that in the beginning as well. When they go, okay, well, I don't have the knowledge yet. I don't have the resources. I don't know where to go to even get those things to get started. Do you see that happening for people?
I see that all the time. And to be honest with you, there's a lot more information out there now than there was back then.
Mm-hmm.
I guess YouTube was a thing back then, but I think it was just mainly people doing like prank videos or something stupid like that. They weren't, but now, like, you can go on my YouTube channel, like there's tons, like there's Matt McKeever, there's like Meet Kevin, all these real estate guys or investing guys on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
who are, like out there doing this out there and doing their thing. Right. So, and providing knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. And people.
So if you guys haven't, go like and subscribe. Go subscribe. I told Alex Powell if I got to 1,000 subscribers by the end of July, I'd do Russian dancing on my channel.
You have to do something new. That's your party trick. We need a new dance, Mark.
Hey, keep it clean.
We are recording this. Okay, so yeah, like you said, there are a lot of more resources now. So what would your first piece of advice be to somebody who's thinking about, who's in that stage where they're going, okay, I want some resources, I want to gain some knowledge about this. So obviously your podcast is super full of information.
Yeah, there's another, YouTube podcasts are now huge. There's probably 5 or 6 ones. Like there's Well Off, Breakthrough Real Estate. There's Mandy Branham ones. She's really good, like full-time real estate investor. I don't even know. I'm sure you can Google this and do these things and figure those out, right? And then just network with other real estate investors. When I started, like there wasn't that many real estate clubs going, right? Like there was one here, one there. There was different networking groups, but they weren't real estate specific. And now there's tons of real estate specific ones. So
there are. Okay, so the primary focus.
Get on those, right? And now they're doing free live streaming. Like I was on Alex Powell's the other day.
Awesome. Quite the resource you are, my friend. Did I mute you? I did. I'm sorry. There you go. So the real thing I wanted to get talking about today, sorry about that, is finding, like identifying opportunities that might exist during COVID, right? So investing in real estate right now, and realtors investing in their own product right now. So how would you recommend
Yeah.
somebody?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think there's a better time.
What makes you say that?
I mean, if you're out there looking, it's sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
What I missed what you just said there.
I was just saying, how would you recommend
Sorry.
you start finding opportunity?
If you're thinking about getting started, I mean, yeah. All right. So, am I lagging or something, or
Yeah.
or am I good? All right. I get a smile and nod. I don't know. So, I mean, to get started, you figure out your strategy. Are you going to be buying a bungalow and putting a second unit in? Are you going like 3 to 4 units? Are you buying a single family townhouse, right? Or are you buying a single family home? And then you really get out there, and I would just go out and talk to somebody who's done it. So figure out if you want to do duplexes, find out who's buying duplexes. Say, hey, what'd you buy? And just start looking at everything on the market and start running numbers. And the thing is, I mean, I tell myself this every time I buy a building is, listen, I know I'm overpaying today, and in 5 years, I'm going to look like a genius.
So there are some people who say, well, I need to get a deal today for it to be a good investment. What do you say to that?
Well, I mean, maybe the deal is, okay, so it's up 5% year over year. And when this whole COVID thing ends and we're still low interest rates, well, we're going to be, up 10%, right? Up 15%, who knows?
Okay. And so you've talked about, running the numbers and how to identify that right opportunity from a financial perspective. So for somebody who's never done that before, how would they start doing that?
Well, I mean, it's perfect that you asked that. I have 3 videos on my YouTube channel that we run the numbers on various different properties. We went through a duplex conversion in St. Catharines, which was Brandon's, who's on my team. We have a 30 unit that I'm buying that we ran numbers on. We have a 12 unit that we just sold in Kitchener that we ran numbers on. So go look and just kind of see that flow. And if you guys want the spreadsheet I use, I'm happy to send it to you. So just post up in the group and I'll email it to you.
Awesome. And so I mean, you talked about your preferred strategy is buy, reno, refinance. Is that what you said?
Yeah, buy, rental, rent, refinance. Yep, and then
So,
redo. Somebody added an extra R at some point.
brr.
That's the one. Yeah.
And so from your perspective, you're not necessarily looking for cash flow positive right off the hop. You're looking for a longer term opportunity to increase equity.
Well, yeah. So, and I don't do this on my YouTube channel. I haven't yet. But I mean, basically, if I can buy something, even if it's zero cash flow and it's break even today, I mean, I'll make cash flow over time, but it depends on what your goal are. I mean, if your goal is to make cash flow, well, you're going to buy a different product. If my goal is to have a net worth appreciation, well, I'm going to buy the one that gives me the biggest net worth appreciation. It doesn't always equate to the highest cash flow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there's different strategies. And do you always stick with the opportunity to increase net worth? Well, I mean, obviously that's obviously the whole goal, but from the equity perspective?
Yeah. So I'm always that. And then to be honest, like now that like the portfolio is more mature, it does kick off a bunch of cash flow. It's just, it's inevitable at some point, yet, we don't, our goal is to our goal is to zero it out so we don't have to pay taxes. We don't like taxes. I mean, we love taxes. Thank you, Canadian government. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Awesome. Okay, so I want to open up the floor to you guys. I have you all muted, but I want you to know you can chime in at any point. I mean, this is your opportunity to have Mark completely at your beck and call to answer your specific questions about what investment looks like right now and what an opportunity could look like for you to get into the investment market if you're not there yet, or to grow your portfolio if you are. So what questions do you guys have for
Yeah,
Mark?
and one thing I will say is maybe you look outside your area, right? Like
Mhm.
if you're an Oakville agent, maybe you're not investing in Oakville. If maybe it's not even Hamilton or anything like that. Maybe you're going out of province. Maybe you're going to
So,
Halifax. Maybe you're going to Alberta, right? There's opportunities everywhere. Like if you need to buy a $60,000 property, like you can probably do that like an hour out of Saskatoon.
and so what would you say to somebody considering that? Do you go out and see the property, or are you just strictly on the numbers?
So like I'm buying property in Tampa Bay right now and looking in Orlando, and I just do a Google Street, like I do the walk around the blocks and all that. So just do Google Street View, and I trust the professionals I've hired down there. And I'll talk to, in the areas, I'll talk to 2 or 3 property managers and get their opinions too, because they're the ones that are going to tell you the truth. They're the ones that are going to have to rent it. So
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. So do you have your own property management company, Mark, or do you outsource that?
I outsource that, at least for now.
Oh, at least for now, it sounds like there's a future opportunity there.
Well, possibly. I mean, when you get to 200 doors, I mean, it's always one of those things. It's an expense line item that you look at and say, well, can I do this in house? What aggravation would that cause me? And is it worth the money savings, if there is any?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You also mentioned that you're really trusting of the professionals that you've hired in those areas. So what would you say to an agent, say from Halton, our area generally, that is looking, 2-3 hours away? Would they do that transaction themselves, or would you suggest they hire a local realtor?
I always work with local. And when I buy through other realtors, I typically tell them to keep it, like, I don't ask for a referral or anything like that. I just want the best service.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how do you go about picking that agent in that area?
A lot of it's been networking. I've networked with other agents, and okay, I know they invest themselves or just by referral.
Awesome. So what other advice would you have, Mark, for people looking to invest right now?
I mean, feet on the street, get out there, start looking, I mean, here's the thing, put offers in. You never get what you don't ask for. Do your numbers and get off your couch.
Get off the couch. That's good advice in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many offers would you say you put in on average to one purchase?
I'm kind of maybe 1 out of 2 now. I don't make a lot of offers, just because of the kind of buildings I buy. I'm very specific now. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I was looking at one off market that was sent to me. It was a bungalow on the mountain, and the comps were going for 455, and I slept on this, and somebody picked it up for 385 during COVID because they were so worried, and somebody just walked in, an investor, said 385, and there you go. He probably has $60,000 in equity. And now, is that deal still around? I don't know. I mean, that was a month ago. So are we more positive now than we were a month ago? I think so. Stuff is starting to open up. People are going back to work. I'm starting to get calls from investors again saying, hey, I still have my job. I can get financing. Everything's super cheap, or like financing super cheap. Hey, let's start looking. So demand's going to tick up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'd rather be buying now when I'm competing against 3 people rather than 20.
Yeah, that's a much easier battle to win.
Yeah.
If somebody was considering buying out of town right now, I mean, you said you mentioned you're looking in Tampa Bay and Orlando right now. What areas do you think are the next hot spot to be looking at?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't done that much research. I mean, like Windsor's on fire, but I don't know. Is it too late? And then Hamilton was too late when I was buying apartment buildings there, and now they've all doubled in value in those 3 years. So is it too late? Probably not. Is it too late in Hamilton? Probably not. I mean, kind of just pick your area, pick maybe 2 areas, do your research, start looking at properties, put in offers,
So
build
what?
your team.
Okay, tell us about that. Who have you got on your team to support you in this?
Obviously, property manager, contractor, your inspector, your appraiser, your banker, yeah.
Now, would you suggest
Insurance.
an agent who bought their own home, a couple of years ago or whatever, they've used the same lender for their personal residence? Do you think they should be using that same lender that does traditional residential, or should they be looking at a specifically investment-based lender?
So you want to work with somebody who understands investments. And here's the thing, like if your goal is to own maybe 2 or 3 investment properties and your own home and your cottage, you're probably okay just to go and do whatever, get the cheapest rate and do it simply. But if your goal is to own 10 or 15 properties, I mean, that's a different setup than owning 2 extra rental properties.
Mm-hmm. Are there,
Especially with us being self-employed too, right? So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Added challenge.
Yep, absolutely. So did it take you a while to find the right partner for you from a financial perspective, a lender, or do you
Yeah, yeah, and now like it's ebbs and flows. So that partner was great, and then they changed what they could do for us. So we were like, okay, we were at BMO for all of our mortgages on multis, and now they're like, like with COVID, we're changing. And then we talked to RBC, and RBC is telling us, hey, yes, we're super aggressive. We want your business. Okay.
So you've noticed some differences in what the lenders are able to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, just on the commercial side, we had principal deferment on all of our properties, and for 6 months, and like CIBC did 3 months interest and principal deferments, right? So even in that, like when you get into commercial, it's just totally different game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But most people here are going to be buying residential properties.
Well, you just
1 to 4
know.
units.
Yeah. You just never know.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, if you're starting, you maximize your return on 3 to 4 unit properties because you can do them so much quicker. My buy, rental, rent refinance takes me 2 to 4 years, whereas you can do that on a bungalow because you get it vacant in 6 months, 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. So that's where you'd suggest they start. You mean you don't want the first time investor to go buy an 18-door building? That's what you're telling me?
Yeah. I mean they can, but
unless you bring in a partner like Mark.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: if you're sitting there on $5 million cash, then yeah, maybe, and that this is going to be 5 to 10% of your total portfolio or less, then yeah, I mean, you probably want to start there. But if you're not working with over $1 million in capital to start with, then starting there is probably not the best idea.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Guys, feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions or type them into the chat box. Again, Mark is here to share his knowledge with you. David, you've unmuted yourself. You got a question for Mark?
I did. Nice to see you both.
Nice to see you.
When do you open the corporation for estate planning and tax purposes? The first one, or do you roll everything in after the fact, or do you have everything ready to go under a corporation and then just start accruing within the corporation?
Right. So first off, it doesn't save you any taxes being in a corporation rather than personal, unless you got a 3-tier or whatever they teach you. And by the way, I'm not an accountant. What it does do for you, it depends on, at the end of the day, it depends on your goal. So if you want to own 10, 15, 20 single family properties or like smaller residential properties, you kind of want to start putting those into corporations right away, because it's going to help you get financing in the future. Because, you can put 4 or 5 in one corporation, set up a new corporation, and then, whoa, we have no financing in that corporation, and it doesn't show up on your personal. So again, you're going to pay more in interest rates to get it financed in a corporation, yet it's going to allow you to buy more over time. I would tell you, if you're going to buy less than 5 properties, never set up a corporation. The cost doesn't matter. You're going to pay higher interest rates, and it saves you no money on taxes and estate planning.
Thanks.
Awesome. Great question, David. Thank you for that. All right. Who else has a question for Mark? What did you come here to learn about today? This is your opportunity to get exactly what you want from Mark. So
Don't everybody speak at once. I mean, if we're done, I can go hit some balls on the range, maybe improve.
We can't let him
my
off
game.
the hook that easy. Let's make him a little bit late, shall we? What did you come here to learn about today? What did you want to know? You chose something awesome. Sam,
Hi. I have a question regarding the students' residence. So now most of the universities will continue to make the fall programs online. So is it a good time now for investing in the student residence as a price?
If it was me, I think that's one area where there could be some pain for people. I haven't really gone down the road of looked on what they're going for now. It might be an opportunity for sure. I mean, again, there's going to be some opportunity. People are over leveraged or whatnot. That's could be a great opportunity. I personally don't like student rentals because I think they're too high maintenance for me. But I mean, again, I know a lot of people who do that game and make a lot of money from it. And again, that could be a great opportunity coming up. Would we see it now? I think you're probably a month or two out from seeing the pain starting. And then the real pain will probably be coming in August, September, when that's all finalized and they can't re-rent them or they can't do anything, right? And then, I don't know, if you can go in and scoop up something in September with a December closing, you might be good.
Awesome.
Or again, now maybe you're repurposing those properties and you're making duplexes out of them or whatever, and then you don't care who comes.
Awesome. So Sam, sounds like there could be some opportunity if you're patient and you have hawk eyes. Watch for that pain.
Yeah, I mean, you should just go out and draw the circles around the universities and watch when properties come up and start. Yeah, just feet on the street. Like every deal that comes up, you're looking at it, right?
Yeah, but the issue now that most of the students are they have like 3 years contract. It's renewed every year, so I don't know what is the situation now, if anyone will go to terminate, if the landlord is affected or not. So the formula is not yet.
Did Mark freeze?
If you are in St. Catharines, am I still there? There you go. One of my good friends is a property manager in St. Catharines and does a lot of Brock rentals. And he's saying that he has vacancies still because his normal time to fill those vacancies would have been April. And now people just said, well, we're not just going to take it on. And then I know a lot of foreign students who they went home, they're not coming back right now. So there's going to be less. They're going to be doing it online, right? Like this is what's going to happen in the fall term. They've already announced it. So I've heard, like, just anecdotally on some Facebook groups of people like, hey, our tenant's not going to do it. So number one, if I'm going to do student rentals, I'm always going to get a parent guarantee. And like that's number one. You want a parental guarantee on that because the student walks, like, sure, you can ding their credit and maybe make some money down the road in 10 years when they actually want to buy something with their credit. But, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I'd be looking in those areas and maybe looking to repurpose or do different things with it in the short term, at least. Because I mean, who knows how that's going to, again, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But I do know that if CMHC stops their 5% down, that I'm going to have more renters. And that means rental prices are going to go up. And the other thing I can say is, well, if the U.S. is true to its word and stops as much immigration as they have, those people are going to go somewhere, and they're smart and they're good and they're going to make money, and they're going to come to Canada or somewhere else. But our immigration is going to go up, and those people need somewhere to stay, and they're not building enough rental units, so therefore they're going to rent from me, and my rental prices will go up as well. So again, yeah, there could be good opportunity there, but you might have to repurpose it for a year or two and then get back into student rentals after. So that's where you need to know your pricing and that type of thing, right? So if you have to rent it out as a single family, it might have to happen for 2 years.
So Mark, do you wait and study things that come on the market, or if there's a particular building, have you ever sought out that owner to find out if they're willing to sell?
Oh, 100%. I drive by things all the time. So, I'd like to own that. I write down the address. I go research who owns it, and I start drilling down and start calling them and say, hey, you ever thought about selling?
Good. So Sam,
and
you
I call them every 3 months.
Buy or die, right? Sell or die. So Sam, you have an opportunity there if there's a particular school that you want to have a property near to look at those owners around the school and start reaching out. Be a proactive investor, right?
Yeah. Maybe go look at your warehouse and figure out who owns multiple properties. They got 5 or 6, they might be hurting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could be a great way to get in, take something off somebody else's hands.
Yeah, maybe you pick up 2 yourself and then you can list 4 of them.
Buy your own product, right? Gary teaches us, and we've kind of gotten away from this for the last few years. Gary used to say all the time, right? You know this, Mark. He'd say, every time you're invited in to a listing presentation, your first job is to analyze whether you want to invest in that property. You only market it for sale if it's an investment that you don't want to take on for yourself. So that's your first line of consideration. And then the second consideration is, okay, will I list this property for sale? And we've kind of gotten away from talking about that over the last few years. I think it's really important to keep that in our minds. Okay.
100%.
We'll wrap up in a couple minutes here. Does anybody else have any last questions for Mark? Great opportunity to pick this man's brain. I mean, he's always willing to chat with you, I'm sure of it, but you came here for a reason today. So what did you want to get out of today? You just went to see Mark's scruffy face and hear him talk about golf?
Hey, I cleaned this up for you guys today.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. That's very kind. Okay, gang. Well, if that is all, we will let Mark hit the links and we'll let you guys get back to your day. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel. Mark, what's it called again?
The Mark Loeffler Experience. Everybody should be subscribed, okay?
Go get yourself the Mark Loeffler Experience. That sounds like a good time. All right, check out his YouTube channel. Thank you, Mark, for being willing, always so willing to share your knowledge and your experience with us. We are better for it. And I hope that you all take this knowledge and check out his YouTube channel and listen to some of the knowledge he has to share so that you can absorb that and put that into your own world and grow your own portfolios.